大家好, I'm Martin, and this is Short Stories, brought to you by the Taichung Keda Language Center. Today's short story is about the legend of John Henry. In most folk legends, the stories are fake, but the people were real. We're not entirely certain that this is the case with this story, though. According to one researcher named Scott Reynolds Nelson, there was a real John Henry who was born in 1848. But this is disputed. Well, in any case, the legend of John Henry continues on to this day and continues to inspire people. There have been numerous songs, plays, and books written about him. There's even a comic book superhero version of him. Well, before I read the legend, I'm going to read the vocabulary and vocabulary example sentences. After I have finished the legend of John Henry, I'm going to ask you for listening comprehension questions. All right, no time to waste. Let's get started. Vocabulary. Thunderclap. Thunderclap. The lightning produced a very loud thunderclap. Spike. Spike. The steel factory produced many spikes for the railroad company. Explosive. Explosive. It is illegal for unlicensed people to have explosives. Announce. Announce. The school announced that tomorrow will be a snow day. Inventor. Inventor. The inventor won a prize for his new machine. Alarmed. Alarmed. The hikers were alarmed by the sudden appearance of a bear. For good. For good. I decided to quit smoking for good. Tunnel. Tunnel. To get to Hualien, we must drive through the Xueshan Tunnel. Now for the story. A long time ago in the Appalachian Mountains, John Henry was born. It was a dark and stormy night. The moment John was born, there was the loudest thunderclap that anyone had ever heard. Everyone in the town knew that this baby was special. Even as a little baby, he could pick up his father's heavy iron tools. His favorite was the hammer. His father taught him how to use all of his tools. By the age of 6, John was working with his father on the railroad. He liked the work so much that he said, "I'm going to be the greatest steel driver that ever lived." A steel driver hammers holes into rocks with a big steel spike. These holes are then filled with explosives so that the railroad engineers can blast through mountains to build the railroad. John did indeed grow up to be the greatest steel driver in the world. At the age of 20, he was 3 meters tall and weighed over 200 kilograms. He could work so fast that his hammer moved like lightning, and when he struck a steel spike, it sounded like thunder. All the other workers admired him, including Polly Ann. John and Polly Ann fell in love and got married. Their wedding was a huge party, and all the railroad workers were invited. One day, the railroad company called a meeting of all the workers. The boss came on stage and announced that an inventor had created a steel driving machine that could do the work of 100 men. The inventor went on stage next to demonstrate the machine. All the workers looked with wide eyes, except for John. He wasn't very impressed at all. Next, the boss announced that the machine would be tested at the Big Bend dig site, and if all went well, the company would replace all the workers with the new machine. All the workers were alarmed. "How will I feed my son?" said one. "How will I pay my rent?" said another. At that moment, John stepped forward. John said, "I can beat that machine." The inventor laughed. "Ha, that's crazy talk," he said. John said, "Let's make a bet. If I can beat your machine, then we all get to keep our jobs and you have to pay us all a bonus. If I lose, then I'll quit the steel driving business for good, and you can have my favorite hammer." The inventor thought for a moment, then agreed. The next day, everything for the competition was prepared. John arrived early and eager to start. The inventor made last-minute adjustments to his machine. At exactly 6 a.m., the boss blew the whistle and the race began. John and his team had to dig a tunnel through the mountain faster than the machine. They had only 1 day to finish. John worked faster than he ever worked before. His bright steel hammer gleamed in the early morning sunlight. The machine was barely able to keep up with him. At one point, the machine had to stop to be refueled, and John got ahead. The workmen cheered, but once the machine was working again, it was moving faster than before. It caught up with John, and by 5:30 p.m., it was slightly ahead. Time was almost out. Polly Ann gave John a cup of water and a kiss for good luck. After that, John worked faster than even he thought possible. At 5:59 p.m., he drilled his last hole, and his team blasted through to the other side of the mountain. John had won. He beat the machine. But when the dust cleared, everyone could see John lying on the ground. John had worked so hard that his heart was worn out. John died competing against the machine. After the funeral, the boss told the inventor to never come near again, and all the workers received their bonus. Each worker contributed a little money to build a statue of John out of steel and placed it over his grave. On it is written, "Here lies John Henry, the greatest steel-driving man." Now for the questions. What did John Henry want to be when he grew up? A. A steel driver. B. A railroad engineer. C. An inventor. D. Thor. The answer is A. A steel driver, of course. Question 2. What was John Henry's favorite tool? A. Dynamite. B. Chisel. C. Hammer. D. Axe. The answer is C. Hammer. Question 3. What does a steel driver do? A. Makes holes in rocks. B. Makes steel spikes. C. Makes dynamite. D. Makes machines. The answer is A. Makes holes in rocks. Question 4. What bet did John Henry make with the inventor? A. He could defeat the inventor's machine in a competition. B. He could smash the inventor's machine with his hammer. C. He could eat more pancakes than the inventor. D. He could jump higher than the inventor. The answer is A. He could defeat the inventor's machine in a competition. That is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and now you know the legend of John Henry. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.